Hi, this is Brandon I. Brooks, managing editor with the Los Angeles Sentinel newspaper and also the LA Watch Times. It's my absolute pleasure today to be here with two representatives from the Los Angeles Police Department. I have Captain Aaron McCraney and Sergeant Cassandra Britt-Nickerson. Thank you both for being here today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What I really want to talk about today is we're here to talk about recruitment. And this is a great opportunity because they're both from the Recruitment Division. But I think it's important before we start to get a little background about yourselves and let us know who you are and how you got to this position that you're in now. So I'll start with you, Ms. Nickerson.
Well, good afternoon. First of all, my name is Sergeant Cassandra Britt-Nickerson. I have approximately about 28 years on the department. I'm born and raised in the city of Los Angeles, grew up on 104th and Hoover. Went to all the inner city schools, Woodcrest, Washington High, ended up going to UC Davis, and I finished up at Cal State Long Beach. With that being said, growing up in the neighborhood and growing up in LA, I didn't always see police officers as friendly to me. And so it wasn't like I was inspired because I had the best interaction. It's just something that I thought seemed interesting. And as I got older, once coming out of college, they had a big recruitment campaign, and it was basically, you could do all these amazing careers, jobs. And I thought, wow, that seems pretty interesting. As I was working at Bank of America and Fannie Mae's and Ginnie Mae's. And so, I went out, they had a big recruitment hiring push, and I took the test, and the rest is history. And so that's, how I ended up on the police department. It wasn't this lifelong goal. I always tell people we come from many walks of life, and it wasn't something that I knew anyone that was a police officer. I just decided that seemed pretty interesting to me, and I'm going to give it a try.
And just briefly on that recruitment opportunity, what was that? Was it like at a job fair?
We had a big hiring fair, and so they had a big women's hiring fair, and I went out and took the test.
That's right.
And the rest is history. I took a leap, and here I am.
That's amazing. If you could also
Okay, my name is Aaron McCraney, and I too am from Los Angeles. I grew up right in this neighborhood. I used to pass by this location every day because I went to Audubon Junior High School. I also attended Dorsey. For me, it's something that in law enforcement, something that I always thought about. Growing up, I was very pleased with the thought of being a police officer. I too have had many contacts with LAPD, not necessarily the most positive ones. Nothing too bad, but just when you grow up in the inner city and you get exposed to different things, you see different things. So sometimes I understand where members of the community come from. Some of those feelings, I get that. But for me, I've always held law enforcement in high regard, and I can tell you, I recall I actually worked for a bank, right down the street from here. And I had a friend of mine who at that time was a deputy sheriff. And I remember him coming to the office in his uniform. And I saw someone that I grew up with and, was so proud to see him, in his uniform and what he represented. And that was a big catalyst for me to move forward and become a police officer. Yeah.
Thank you, Sheriff. So let's kind of talk about this recruitment. I'm very, proud to see LAPD stepping it up, and specifically in the African American community. LAPD is taking out recent advertisement in the LA Sentinel, which we're happy to see about recruitment. I even think the Los Angeles airport police are hiring, but there's various positions. But tell us, being part of recruitment, what that entails, because as I learned, there's hundreds of jobs in various departments, so it's not always what people assume. So can you kind of, indulge a little bit, both of you? I'll start with you again.
And that's what people don't realize. We all start in patrol, but that's where you get your foundation. But even patrol can be exciting. People don't realize that. You're out there. You get those calls. You're investigating. It can lead to one thing to the other. But me, just alone, the opportunities that I've had being a police officer have been just amazing. I've had a opportunity to be a detective, so I've worked different tables, different assignments, from burglary to robbery, and then actually working undercover narcotics. I worked undercover narcotics. I worked the anti-terrorist division, which is now called something different than that. But, and then becoming a sergeant and going back out in the field and becoming a patrol sergeant. These positions, there's numerous of them from from the average detective work to the specialized units, and people don't realize that, we have technology department where, people just use technology to investigate crimes. And so there are just so many various opportunities that you can become involved in and bring those specialties that you were in the regular workforce and bring them into the department and use them in a certain way. And people don't realize that, and anywhere that you can go and, fly a helicopter and have no experience, and we will train you to do that. If that's what you aspire to do, then that just goes to show you the different varying things that we have in our department that you can do. And that's what I do appreciate about our department. I've, like I said, had opportunities to work so many different things and just had a great career in those things. And so, I really appreciate that with our department.
So the way I look at it is that whatever you do, whatever you love, there's a way to do it on the Los Angeles Police Department. I mean, if you love working with kids, if you love working with the elderly, if you like working with computers, if you like working in social media, there is a need on the police department. I can tell you, for myself, I actually was afforded the opportunity to actually start up a youth center. And you would not think that as a police officer you would have those opportunities. But we talk about hundreds, there's probably more than that. I mean, there's literally whatever it is that you do, whatever that you love, there's a way to do it here.
How about you speak about the benefits or just some kind of maybe salary? Like, if I went to a job fair and, everybody wants to make money for any job, but what are some, maybe based out starting out, what's an officer?
So, here's the thing. When it comes to police work, most people don't get in it for the money. They don't get in it for things like the benefits. However, that is a reality. And the reality is that it's amazing. Like when I look at the opportunities we get, I'm overwhelmed. I mean, starting salary, and to start, all we require basically is that you have minimum education, which is a high school or equivalent, be of good character, and then have some sort of stability in your life. But beyond that, you're talking about starting at approximately $63,000 a year, and that's just yes, that's just a salary. Then from there we talk about you have full medical, you have full dental, we have bonus programs, we have retirement programs. I mean, the benefits.
Like housing opportunities for an officer was being placed in an area maybe where he's not familiar with that they.
We don't necessarily have any housing program, but that's a good idea. That's something perhaps we should look at.
Remember starting.
Yeah, no, but we do a lot to assist people. The Los Angeles, we're approximately, that number varies, but approximately 464 square miles, and that covers. We go from the harbor to the West Valley, to East Los Angeles. So there's a big territory to cover, and so there's just huge opportunities with the police department. Yes.
I think one thing is, let's say if we're at a job fair and really we're talking about recruitment and getting into the field, can you all maybe dive into some of the kind of the psychological effects of being a police officer? Because we can't ignore that you all are stepping out in the field every day and, approaching, it's a difficult task. You never know what you're dealing with, from mental illness to, someone who's just having a bad day. But just kind of what advice would you give to someone that's stepping into this for the first time about how to approach it? Because as you said, I believe most officers are getting into it because they want to make a difference. But when you step out in that field, the reality is a little bit different than maybe what people anticipated. Maybe could you just lean and let us know a bit about that?
I mean, and when you work patrol, there's no day that's the same. It depends. One minute you can be on a regular call with just a missing person, and you can go from that high to, a robbery in progress, or just an average day. It could be so many varying different things. And I think the good thing about the Los Angeles Police Department is that we train our officers very well when it comes to training. We arm you with the tools so when you do go out there, you can succeed. And I can remember being a young officer working patrol and just, handling those different calls. And, the best thing is we learn how to de-escalate things. We learn to use our communication skills. But then sometimes we might have to use other skills to handle a situation. And all that training comes into play. I mean, it is a job that takes you from the highs and the lows. And as officers, we have to learn how to handle those highs and the lows. For me, I work out. Some people handle their stress by doing certain things. So once you become seasoned, you learn how to handle those stressors. And we give our officers different things to handle stressors. We have a wellness program that lets officers join different gyms that are in that wellness program, and they have opportunities to join those gyms, and the department takes care of that fee. And so that, once again, things to get officers, to handle that stress. And so, that's, like I said, it's a lot of highs and lows, but you learn. But there's a lot of the highs sometimes are great, and just being in the community. For me, growing up in LA and being in the city that I grew up and being able to go on those calls and really do, help people and make that difference. And when, people get out and they see that, oh, there's a black female officer, and they come up to you and they ask you questions and they're happy to see you, that feeling is so rewarding. It's so rewarding. So when you get those, people like that come up to you and say thank you, you feel good about what you're doing.
Are there any job fairs, any new opportunities coming up that you would like to let the LA Sentinel audience know about? As as I said, there's been some recent, recruitment campaigns that have came out, but anything that should be on the horizon, maybe locally here in South Los Angeles, or maybe, put us websites or, way that we can get more information?
So we have, every day we're out there. Every day we're at the different locations. We attend the local colleges, local universities. We have some major events. We do hiring seminars every month. And the big one we have coming up, we definitely we'll be out here for Taste of Soul. That is an annual event for us that we have huge success, good opportunity for us to meet and greet and talk to the community, let them know what the LAPD is all about, and also an opportunity for us to hear from them and get some feedback. So we really love doing that. We have, in February, we do a major hiring seminar at the Crenshaw Christian Center. That is a phenomenal success for us. We get a huge crowd, and once again, it's a good opportunity for us to connect with the community. But once again, if you go to the website, joinlapd.com, every day you will see where we are. And we are somewhere throughout the city, outside the city, and we even go a little bit further into the various counties of California. So it's something that if someone's interested, there is a way. Just contact us, and we'll make sure that we can arrange for you to be tested.
I don't want to keep you too much longer. Can you guys speak about the current face of the LAPD? Because I also think there is some, community relations aren't always the best unfortunately, between the black community. There's a lot of myths, and, that's at times we don't have people stepping up as much as we would like. That's at least my opinion. Really, really want to speak about the current scope of the LAPD now. We see two, as I call you guys, are superheroes, real life superheroes, but we want to see more African Americans obviously on the force. Can you speak about maybe the current number of officers now that are African American, and maybe some of the demographics, and maybe some of the goals that you all would like to see in the next few years, whether you reach it or not, but how vigorous is this campaign, and what are you all looking to see?
Right now, we have just under 1,000 on the Department of African Americans, and that's a department of roughly about 10,000. So we usually go for anywhere between 9 to 10%. And when you look at the demographics of the city, that's going to be pretty close to mirroring the city. However, with this Chief Moore, what he has done, he has looked at that and he has determined that while we may have parity with the city, that it's not enough, that he wants more. He would like to have a better representation. Chief Moore understands the issues and problems of the past, and he wants to address that. And he knows that, there are certain communities, as you mentioned, that may not have enough representation of African Americans in that area. And so he's making considerable strides. I can tell you, I've been involved in recruitment for years now, and there is a huge concern from the highest level of the department to make sure that the representation is in the area.
And I'm just going to say something. We, as a department, we hired in the 1990s. We had a huge recruitment campaign. I'm one of those people that came in the 90s. And a lot of the African Americans were hired at that time. So we're all of the age of retirement age, right? And so we're trying to make sure that we fill those ranks behind us before we lose them in retirement. So it's really important to us because we want a department that looks like our city, even though, like you said, we're at a certain 6% to 9%. We want to make it more than that. We want to make sure that all our citizens are represented and feel like they're represented, because we all know that when you see someone that comes out to the call and you have something that's in common with you, you feel a little bit more comfortable sometimes. Whereas historically, we felt that we weren't a part of the police department. So we want to make sure that all our citizens feel comfortable with the police department and our police officers. So we want it to look like our city.
Just a couple more questions. What myths would you maybe want to debunk? Because if I went to a recruitment, opportunity, there would be some things that maybe are on my mind, but maybe you just even know, like, becoming an officer, people have no idea, but they do need to know this. Anything that you could just share with the common person like myself that, you want to?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just to understand that we recruit from the general population, and we look for people that are just like us. We're not looking for perfection. We understand that, life happens, things come up, but what the department's looking for is that, okay, these things may have happened, but what have you done, besides that, or what have you done since that? I think that, I've worked hiring for many years now, and I can tell you that it really is a good opportunity to be a part and really to make a difference. When you talk about people that want to be police officers, they always talk about making a difference. There is not a greater way that I know of when it comes to working in your community, as I did. As I mentioned, I grew up here, and to be able to come back and to be assigned Southwest Division, to be able to patrol, the streets that I grew up, when I was a kid and ran around. Now I'm actually helping to secure and be a part of the safety of those communities. That's just a phenomenal opportunity. And again, I grew up here just like many other people did, and this is a place to be to make that difference.
Yeah, I just want people to know that being a police officer is doable. I think some people think sometimes it's really out of reach, and really it's not. I always tell people there's no difference between me and you. I just took that leap, and I'm on the other side of this table, and I'm in this uniform. But you can do the same thing that I did, just getting to that door, and that we're hiring. We're hiring every month. Every month we are looking to put 50 members in the academy to become police officers and people. That is ongoing hiring. 50 people every month. And so that is the goal. And so another thing is the myth that people think that you live at our academy. The academy, you don't live at the academy. You come to and from every day, just like a job. All your benefits, your full pay and benefits start the day one you enter the academy. So a lot of these outside agencies, you have to put yourself through academy and pay for it. With LAPD, your starting salary and all your benefits, medical, everything begin the day you enter the academy. And it's a 6-month academy. And we're going to teach you to do everything that you need to do to become a successful police officer. And I just want, and like I always tell people, in that community, we always talk about the police, but guess what? We got to be a part of that change. If we don't, step in and become a part of these ranks to fill them, to bring that diversity, then who will? And then what will we end up, so we can't keep talking about, the police, but we're not speaking positive things for our future leaders, our children, our kids that are going away to college to come back. Hey, have you thought about being a police officer? To come back and police our communities. So we need to make sure that we put those positive things out there so we can, bring our kids that are going away to colleges and coming back, seeking careers, and to tell them, hey, this is a viable career. And you can make a difference. And you, like he said, just about anything you can think of that personally you like doing, there's something in the police department for you to do and bring those skills with you. So.
Well, I had a final question, but you guys have spoke so well. I think you answered both in that last sentence. But I do want to give you the opportunity to speak to our audience and our readers. Any final thoughts? Because again, we're very happy to see two officers like yourselves, and I think I'm blessed on my side. There's unfortunate negative stories, but as I tell people, there's hundreds and hundreds of positive stories, and I hope that we can be part of telling more and more of those stories. In months and years to come. But just any final thoughts to the LA audience that you want them to know about recruitment and about just being an officer. I'll start again.
Just like I said, being on this department for 28 years, I've gone through some different changes and seen some different things, and from the beginning, just over time, yes, it was difficult, and over time, watching the different chiefs and the different culture of the department change, and the department really is about change. And they really do want African Americans, and they want females, and they want diversity, and we appreciate it, and we accept it, and we need it, because when you're on that call, you want someone that's like me that grew up in LA that can say, "Oh no, they're not acting that way because they're angry. They're just passionate about what they're saying, and don't take that in an angry way." So we need that diversity. Yes, we do.
So I just can echo what Cassandra is saying is that. In order to make a difference, you have to be a part. It's much harder to make change from the outside. It takes people like, Cassandra, who is very influential as far as being not only as coming up as a police officer, as a detective, as a sergeant, but she runs our program for, our workout program to get recruits onto the job. this is without a doubt an extremely great opportunity. Words cannot express the things that I've been able to do, the things I've been able to see, the places that I've gone, and that's just by being a part of the police department. A lot of times you don't know how well or what you do to affect situations or people, but then later you'll hear back. I have a young man. I was a patrol captain at Wilshire Division very recently. I had a young man that had been assigned to our division as a sergeant. And so when I met him, as I meet everyone that comes through, he said, "Hey, I want to let you know, I don't know if you remember me, but I was in CPA. What are they? Okay.
It's like a cadet program.
Yeah, it's a program for youth when they come into the, to get like a student worker program. So he was a student worker for the department, and he came to me and says, "I don't know if you remember me, but I was a student worker, and I remember you, and you worked recruitment at that time, and you helped me out a lot, and look at me now, I'm a sergeant." So that puts us in a really good position to be able to see someone who can come up from the community, become a part of the department, and grow up and go through the ranks. So that opportunity is there for everyone. As Cassandra mentioned, our era, our generation, we're kind of going away. We're at that period of time where we're going to be passing the baton, and there's plenty of room for others to come on. And we want to ensure, we talk about that number being at 9%, 10%, that number continues and goes on.
And lastly, I want to just talk about being a female and on the department. People don't realize that we have, family lives. Since being on the police department, I've had 2 children, and the department has afforded me, which people realize our benefits are so great. With each of my children, I was able to be off a whole year and just be a mother to them and get paid and not worry about that. And that is one of the benefits of having that, the great benefit package that we have. And also, we will train you, like Captain McCraney talked about, physically fit, to get you physically fit for the academy. We have a free program, the Candidate Advancement Program, that we offer free to anyone that is going through our process. So you get to actually come work out. We give you the physical fitness. We take you on the runs. We get you physically fit. Not only did we get you physically fit, but we get you mentally fit for the police academy as well. And that's a free program. As long as you're in our process, you're allowed to come to that program, and it's offered 5 days a week and on the weekends as well. So, and even we have morning sessions for people who, can't make it in the evening. We offer some early morning sessions. So, we're doing everything we can to prepare people to get through our process. We try to make our process as open as possible so people can truly understand it. If there's something that you cannot understand, we have mentors in our office that work to answer the phones, to answer any question that you might have, and also to be a support to recruits while they're processing through the process. So if you're going through the process and you have any crazy question that you think that's crazy, we encourage them, where there is no question that's great, we encourage them to call their mentors and just ask the question, will I need this, or what does this look like? And we have 7 of those mentors that's basically sit there and answer the phone and do that. And even while they're in the academy, there's still available resources for them to use. So we try to give all the things we can do to make the process successful, and to really encourage our candidates that, you can do this, and to, keep them pushing forward through our process.
That was amazing. Yeah, I think, and see, this is why I appreciate this opportunity to talk to you all, because I don't think we would have known this. And sometimes, even though we have the World Wide Web at our fingertips, to have 2 persons like yourself, really articulate the opportunities that are there. It's a great opportunity for us. So on behalf of our readers and myself, I want to thank you all for your time today and making yourself available. And we hope to have you all back, and hopefully several other officers, to continue to have conversations with the Los Angeles Police Department on the work that you're all doing and the recruitment. So we want to definitely see more African-American officers and more women officers as well. So thank you for your time, and God bless you all. Thank you. All right.